Hello, welcome to part 2 of the Roach rebuild video. It is finally build night. We're finally here. I've got all the parts. Everything came today that we were waiting on. Before I get into the time lapse, let's just do a brief overview. Obviously in the back there from our previous video, you see the Corsair Vengeance C70 case that we're still going with. We got it out in part 1, so hopefully you watched that. I'll get into my parts list here, but before I start, just want to say, channel's still in its infancy. I'm trying to get as many people to eyeballs on it as I possibly can. If you could just please take 2 seconds to hit the like button, that would really mean a lot to me. If you could subscribe, that would mean even more, but I understand if you don't want to do that. But just please consider it. I've got a bunch of build stuff coming in the future here, so I'm hoping that I can keep growing the channel and keep making more builds. We've got at least 3 more planned for the next couple months. So if you could do that, that would really mean a lot to me. Okay, without that all the way, let's get into the build. Here we go. So the big ticket item that we were waiting for today, right here, the AMD Ryzen 7800 X3D. For those of you that have been following the processor news, this is pound for pound the best gaming CPU money can buy. It's better than the 7950. It's better than the Intel i9. It is such a good CPU that it basically inspired me to do this build and finally pull the trigger. My original plan was to only upgrade my GPU and my power supply this year, but because this CPU came out, here we are doing a full rebuild. So very excited about that. The next big ticket item, like I teased last night, obviously, is our GeForce RTX 4090. It's a Founders Edition. It's massive. It's got a 4 power cord adapter, but thankfully with our Thermaltake T1 GF3 1000 watt, we won't need that because it'll have that built-in 12 volt power cord. So I'm excited about that. So we've got a new power supply to match our CPU and our GPU. The cooler for the CPU is the Noctua NH-D15 chromax.black, which, spoiler alert, I've been using for a couple of years now. It's over there. So that's not new, but I still have the box. So got to put it on part mountain anyway. For our memory, we've got a 32 gig kit of Corsair Vengeance DDR5. It is 6600 megahertz. It is, I believe, 32 cast latency, and it has a first time cast latency of under 10. I think it's 9 and change. So based on my research, this is pretty much the best you can get for gaming performance memory before you start hitting diminishing returns. So that's why we went with that rated speed. For storage, no new storage, but I'm finally able to use all my old storage. So here we have our 4 SSDs. The top one, that X-Power, is a 2 terabyte. The other 3 are all 1 terabyte. This 980 Pro is a PCIe 4.0, and the X-Power is a 4.0. So these 2 are going to be our primary drives, and these 2 are going to be secondary drives. But we can put them all on thanks to our new motherboard, the ROG Strix B650EE. So this has got 4 SSD slots. It's got a ton of power delivery. It's got a ton of fan headers. It's got a bunch of features, basically. I'm not wild, like a lot of people, I'm not wild about how expensive motherboards are. So I did spend a little more than I have ever spent on a motherboard, but I wanted something that had as much connectivity as possible. The other big thing on this is it's got 10 USB ports on the back. Previously, you saw in the last video, I had a USB 4-port expansion card. Now I don't need that anymore. So I'm very excited about that. I play a lot of flight sims. I have a lot of peripherals at my desk, so having as many USB ports as possible is a big deal. Lower ticket items, I got a new tub of Cryonaut Extreme thermal paste, so we'll be using that for the cooler tonight. And I've got this guy. This is a 5.25 adapter for the front of the case, so it's going to go right here where the fan controller was, and that's going to have a USB-C port and some extra USB ports on it. So we'll have a total of, I believe, so let's see, we'll have 10 on the back, we'll have 2 in the front panel, and then we'll have another 3. So we'll have 15 total USB ports, 2 charge-only ports, and a C port on the front. So that's cool. So yeah, so let's see, I think we talked about everything. I got these Chromax cable, Y cables, they're red. So if we need to do any fan splitting, we'll use those for that. So without further ado, I guess I'm going to get into the build. So we'll go to time-lapse here. I'm going to put the motherboard together first, and then we're going to do a test boot. And if that's successful, then we will go ahead and move to final building. So we will see you on the other end of the next segment. Okay, we're ready to test. I've got the GPU, or I've got the CPU connected with the cooler. I've got my old power supply plugged in for now, so I don't have to mess around with the new one. We are switched on. Yep. Let's see. I have no idea if this CPU even has integrated graphics. I didn't even check, so this might not work. But we're gonna find out. Like I said, this is totally unscripted. I can tell it's getting power from the color there. Monitor's on. All right, here we go. Fans, power supply, codes. Please post. Now it's probably going to take a minute because it's probably doing memory config. So it's sitting on code 15. Still on code 15. Oh, she's changing. White. Okay. Green. Yep. Come on. Yes! All right. New CPU installed. Press Y. Okay. We'll do that. Looks like that rebooted it. Still nothing. Oh, monitor's back on. Come on. No, it's rebooting again. Okay. This is pretty normal for a new motherboard. It does a lot of cycling. There it is. Okay. Sorry, I was slow with the camera, but we did get the splash screen. There's our BIOS. Beautiful. F1. And we're in. All right, we got a computer. Beautiful. Memories detected. It is showing the one, my old SSD, but we don't want to boot to that. So I'm glad it did this. I didn't want it to boot. Excellent. All right. I'm going to take a minute. Oh, yeah, look at that. Right in the center of the screen. All 4 of our drives were detected. Beautiful. So I'm going to take a minute to get this cleaned up, and we can proceed forward with the build.